Hello everyone, I am Exal Iraheta. I am the playwright of Last Hermanos. This story first began for me as an exploration of brotherhood. And, especially this was heavily influenced by my relationship with my brother. I am about 7 years older than he is, and by the time that I was leaving home and going to college here to Chicago, this was in around 2005, he was only 11 years old. And so there's a long period of time that I was growing as an individual and he was growing as an individual. We weren't in each other's realities. We definitely stayed connected as much as we could, but it wasn't the same of like cohabitating a space, right? I was thinking really heavily about our relationship, and I was thinking about how our similarities and differences, especially with similarities, how we both kind of want the same thing, but our approach to it are completely different, and the differences in our approach to the same goal causes a lot of friction, causes a lot of tension sometimes, and that to me was super interesting. And so as I explored these two characters of these two brothers who also have this sort of gap in their relationship, I started thinking about like, okay, but where are these brothers? What else? Like, how are they influenced by their environment? How can I get these two together? So, I was thinking about the state park, Rio de Guadalupe, which is a park that we used to go to as a family when I was younger, and my brother was a lot younger. He was probably like 5 or 6. And those were meaningful experiences for me. And I thought, how else better to sort of explore this idea than in an environment that's meaningful. So there was a version of that play that was happening, and a lot of that dealt with sexuality and Catholicism. But then there's something, as I was writing it, things in the world, especially in the United States, they were just too loud to ignore, right? Like too important to ignore. And I started seeing these conversations between chosen brotherhoods and sisterhoods and just siblинghoods and, blood-related brotherhoods and sisterhoods and siblинghoods. And I started seeing how even in the strife for progress, there is and there was this sort of inner community tension, this inner community disagreement, right? This has always existed. This is not a new thing, a new phenomena, but I really wanted to hone that into just one relationship. I, of course, am Latinx, and at this time, the Trump administration was not only deporting but also caging people and imprisoning people in these camps that we all know about. And the danger of people like me who are first generation citizens, of that being revoked because we were deemed as anchor babies, that just really hit home. There was just no way that I could not address that. And how to solve that and to what extreme that can get to and how it can get there became this sort of like full encompassing idea that I just needed to explore, right? But I wanted to keep it focused, so that's why it kind of revolves around these two brothers. This is a speculative future, but it's a speculative future that could happen. It only takes a few decisions of legislation to eradicate citizenship, right? Like we saw in the 1920s, 30s, especially during like in California when Mexicans were being deported, even if they were citizens. So you had children being born in the United States being sent out to a country that they didn't know but ended up, growing up in. So, and there's nothing that could. Well, there is, but the fear of something not being able to prevent that was real, especially during the last 4 years. Even though things have changed, or even though the power has shifted a little bit, that fear still exists, right? And this is not just a Latinx issue. This is also a Muslim issue, an Asian issue, a European issue. Like it's just a human issue that is happening across the board around the world. Being able to siphon all of that into just 80, 90 pages, like that's hard. That's so much to mine through. And even though I wanted to incorporate a lot of those other conversations in this piece, one, I didn't feel ready to bring in experiences that weren't my own. And I definitely never want to be the kind of writer that for the thought experiment misrepresents or perpetuates stereotypes. So I wanted to focus on just these two brothers with a specific experience that I can connect to. I think definitely the story, I hope that resonates, but more than anything, I just want the audience to be able to ask, what do I do? What can I do? And then once that question is asked, not waiting for someone to give them the answer. That's all I can hope. And honestly, that's all we can all hope for, is providing a snippet, a small little drop of a story that could grow into a waterfall. I always approach my writing in this sense of like, I want to explore my fears, and I want to explore my anxieties that don't allow me to sleep at night sometimes, right? Like I want to almost expel these demons that are haunting us and are being neglected to be part of a conversation. This, like I mentioned before, like these laws, especially when it comes to immigration, affects the fabric of our country. I mean, all of it is close to home. This is like, the characters might be fictional and the situation might be, fictional, but the fears and anxieties are 100% real. And I know I'm not the only one who feels them. So in a way, this is also a way of exploring and also connecting. I think that for me, it's always been about connecting. All these themes mean something to me, and I hope it means something to other people as well.